Let's do it. Okay, so let's try some real quick log file analysis. So what we'll do is we'll make a directory called PS, and I should already have the directory created. So just jump in the PS directory. So a CD into the PS directory, and you can use this cute little trick right here, right? New object, system.net web client, download file, and then just put a link to the file that you want. Download it into the PS directory. Pretty cute little trick. Okay, so this is just a cute little trick to download files. You'll also find that you use it in post-exploitation too. So let's say you're hacking into a machine, you want to download the file on a machine that you're hacking into. This is literally the command that you use. Okay, so now we've got our log file downloaded. And then let's go ahead and let's snatch ourselves a Cisco log file. Now, if you're like me and you're from a Linux world, what you probably used a lot of was grep. So we don't really have grep in PowerShell, but you have something really, really close to it, and that's just select string. So you can select string like this, and then you should be able to pipe measure, right, for how many of those instances that you have in the log file. So I'm selecting the string saying, hey, I want to know if this IP address is in the log file. And then I just said pipe measure because I wanted to count how many times the IP address was in the log file. Now we can do it a cute little trick is I'm going to do a select line and then measure it as well. Now, if you want to pass it regular expressions, you can do that in this line. So this, you're looking for a regular expression, and then you want to get all the properties of it. And you want to sort it and unique it, just like we do in Linux, right? So this one's a little bit more, I guess, complex. This is a little trickier way to do this. There you go. Okay, turn my ringer off. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Okay, we just did the individual IPs, and now let's say, okay, in order to determine which IP addresses have the most communication, the last commands are removed to determine the value of the matches. Then the group command is issued on the piped output to group all the IP addresses value. Then sort the objects by using alias. Okay, and then sort count des, and that should be sort for descending. So we'll run this one. There you go. Okay, I'm not going to do the local Windows firewall stuff, but let's go ahead and let's grab a log file from IIS. So we'll jump right down here. Right, so we're on line 286, like this. And we'll grab this IIS log file and let's start searching for some stuff in it. So we'll snatch this log file. Now we'll do a get content from the log file. Now I'm going to use that iterator trick that I showed you. There you go. So I ran get content through any log that we have. Here's the iterator trick that I showed you from earlier. And then what I was looking for is WebDAV. So anything in any of these log files that had WebDAV. Now, WebDAV is a real common way that we'll find vulnerable web servers, vulnerable Windows web servers. So, WebDAV is what allowed developers to upload code to a web server, sometimes without authentication. But looking for a misconfigured web server that allows either put or WebDAV, especially if we look in the log files to see if it's being exploited. Now, if we want to sort it down, to a particular name, like here, we did the exact same thing, give me WebDAV and give me the options command. Okay. Okay. Now, if you're looking for other stuff, right, like maybe you want to look for Outlook Web Access, instead of using WebDAV, use OWA. Maybe you want to look for Active Sync, maybe you want to look for ECP, right? So, whoops. You can find so much in these log files. Just use the commands I've given you as kind of templates and then swap out for the stuff that you want to find in them. You'll be able to do so much. Okay, can't get my cursor to work. There we go. Oh, there's no count for that. Let's check and see if there are questions. Did any of you guys pose a question? It looks like I've missed them. Did I X out of the questions? Oh, there they are. No, no questions. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay. All right, let me leave this question box here and let's jump back in. Okay, let's see if we can play with some regexes. Now, what I want to do is I want to grab a few files. Oh, shoot. That didn't work. Okay, Internet Explorer often with pastebin includes the line numbers. It's a little frustrating. Okay, so now what we need is some regular expressions. Okay, so we're going to start with a variable called input path, and the variable input path is just going to be full of email addresses. The output file is going to be extracted addresses.txt, and now, whoops, we have to make a regular expression. Let me delete that. Okay, so what we're looking for is anything capital A to capital Z, anything lowercase a to lowercase z, anything 0 to 9, looks like we want a period here, and anything with an @ sign followed by anything A to Z, capital, A to Z, lowercase, 0 to 9, followed by a period, and this goes out to spaces 2 to 4 in length. So that'll get like the .co, .uk type domains. It'll also get like the .info domains. So after that, he's going to turn around. He's going to say, okay, select the string from this path, right? So select the string from this path, and he'll use the input path. Then he'll say, hey, check for this pattern. Show me all matches. And then for each match, loop through these jokers. Same way I've taught you how. Output each value into output file. An output file is a variable which points to extracted email addresses. So it's just a way that you can rip through a log file and grab all the email addresses out of it. That's what these few lines of code are doing. There you go. Now let's type extracted addresses, and it's all email addresses. Now you'll see that we have almost the same thing for IP addresses. Almost. I mean, literally, it's almost the exact same line. The only thing that's really different is the regex and the target file name, right? I mean, it's really not that much different. Okay. Get rid of these line numbers. Okay, so I'll paste all that in. Okay, it works. Okay, looks like it didn't get the input path. So let's do these one at a time. Okay, got the input path. Let's grab the output path. Let's grab the regex. Let's try this. I'm having trouble copying the regex. Okay, got the regex and the same. Okay, so I got this now. Now let's type, what is it, extracted IP addresses. There you go. And then whoops. Okay, so let's write this out. Type extracted IP addresses. There you go. And now you see that we've got the exact same thing for URLs. There you go, that's all of them. Now let's type extracted URL addresses. Boom, there's all the web links that everybody went to. Great. All right. All right. I think we did pretty good. Let's come back. Let's jump right on the very next component and take ourselves a quick lunch break, grab a quick little bite to eat, and let's get right back on it, guys. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with some pen tester tasks. We started doing the log analysis stuff. We did, I think, some pretty cool defensive stuff for PowerShell. Let's see if we can mess with some offensive stuff with PowerShell. So let's start with, jump on the pen tester tasks. Okay, the only reason I'm doing this pasting it into Notepad is just because I'm sure you guys can see how using Internet Explorer it gets all these line numbers. Whereas if you did this in a different browser, you wouldn't have this headache. Okay, so okay, 153. Okay, so now what I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to clean up this. Okay, let's get that last octet stuff. Okay, so if you're looking at this, let's say we start our first one like this. Okay, so let's get in here and let's mess with some of this. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, here's my octet. Then in the last octet, you probably want to iterate from 1 to 255. Then you can just do a for each. So you can say, okay, give me last octet, pipe for each, right, and then increment this last octet. So you're going to increment octet with last octet like that. So it's just a real quick for loop that iterates through all of them. Just like that. So let's clear the screen. Let's paste this in, and then boom. Now you have your printed out list of IP ranges that go from 1 to 255. Now, I know you probably look at this and you think, yeah, big deal. Trust me, yes, it is a big deal. If you're like me, when you're on your pen test, I like to take output from my tools and feed that output into my command line scanners or my GUI-based scanners. So let's say, for this example, Nessus. When I scan with Nessus, I upload files that contain the subnets that I want to scan. It's a way that I deal with exclusions and all of that. Being able to, from a command prompt, generate IP lists, you're going to find it's actually pretty handy. Okay, so then the next part is, if you want to do that, then how do you do an actual ping sweep? So a ping sweep is going to be a little trickier because you need to build two different sets of objects. So you're going to see the system.net right here, IP1. So your system.net IP start, so you get this address, right, and then you reverse it, and that now becomes the actual IP address. You see how it has a join. Then you're going to do the exact same thing with IP2, and that's why it has this join. And now here's the magic. Here's your for loop. For x equals IP1, while x is less than or equal to IP2, increment it. And then after you built that out, now you can build this ping variable, new object system.net network.ping, new IP. So here's your IP range, and we're going to go from .1 to 150, and for each in that, we loop through it. And now you're going to see that we want to print out if we can successfully ping that host or not. Boom. Now it's ping sweeping. So you're on a machine that you've broken into and you don't want to install Nmap. You want to be able to do a lot of your command line stuff right literally from that command line. Doing a ping sweep will probably be one of the steps. Okay, did all IPs respond in that list, or did it generate a /24 list? It generated a /24 list. Okay, so sorry guys, getting rid of all these line numbers. Ugh. Okay, so you see how the ping sweep worked, and the ping sweep worked very well. A little slow, but it's just kind of the nature of the beast. Okay, so port scanner. Let's take a look at this. What I'm going to do is we're going to come up with a list of ports 22 and 80. Now for the target, I'm going to change my IP address to be the IP address of my Linux machine. Then you're going to say for each, and you're going to have I in ports. So for each one of these, do this. And you're going to use socket create, new object system, network sockets, TCP client. It's going to connect to that IP address, and then each port in the list. And now you see how once that code block is done, here's that code block, you're going to start your next code block. If the socket equals null, right? In other words, if the socket doesn't complete, then you're going to say, hey, the port's closed. Else, if the socket, right, does complete, then you're going to say, hey, echo this target, this port is open. Oh, whoops. And it worked perfectly. Okay, so the first time when I scanned the wrong IP address, both ports were closed. Now that I scan the right IP address, both ports are open. Let's go ahead and let's mess with this list a little bit. So let's give me 21. Let's give me a 25. Let's give me a 443. Okay, 21 is closed, 22 is open, 25 is closed, 80 is open, 443 is closed. Command line port scanner. Boom. Okay, I want to get this parsing stuff done, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so we've got a PowerShell file. It's a .ps1 file. PowerShell scripts are .ps1 files. That's the file extension. And what you're going to see that makes them really, really interesting is by default, you're not supposed to be able to run untrusted scripts. So you can set the policy, which is what we're about to do. All right, so let's jump right in. Let's mess with the nmap stuff first. Okay, so my execution policy is already going to be set to unrestricted, but I'll show you what you do with it. So you check your execution policy. You can see that mine's set to unrestricted. However, if yours isn't, do this next line and set it to unrestricted. This is so that you can run other PS1 files. Okay. Now you need to be conscious of this because you, as a pen tester, when you're breaking into machines, this is going to be something you're going to need to think about. You may be trying to figure out, hey, why are my scripts not running? This definitely could be one of the reasons. So we've got a sample XML file, right? And it's just called sample scan.xml. Oh, whoops. Okay, I need to get cd dot. There you go. So if I type sample XML scan, and you'll see it's this massive, massive XML of an nmap scan. This thing is huge. Yeah, this is a massive scan. I'm trying to control C and I can't seem to get my computer back. Shouldn't have messed with this scan, huh? God, I can't get this thing to stop running. This was going to take forever. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to say, okay, let's deal with that sample scan.xml file. So we'll say parse, right? And now you see that it comes up with the parse nmap script. So we'll just say sample scan.xml. See how it fills all this out for us. Now, do you see how he's already formatting that script for us? Okay, very, very nice. All right, well, we got through that scan. Now, the other thing that you can see is the script, you can run it a couple of ways. You can parse one particular XML scan, or you can go for a whole series of XML files, right? Or you can dir it, right, and then pipe that output into it. But let's see if we can do some quick filtering. Okay, so here you're going to see that we're going to push this, and then we're going to say, okay, where the OS looks like Windows XP, format it so that I can see the IP address, the host name, and the OS. So this is kind of like sed and awk in Linux. So you want to start formatting how the data looks on the screen. See that? Nice, pretty view of all of your nmap data. Okay, and that's handy. So that's all only Windows XP host. Okay, now let's say we want to do the same thing, but I only want to get stuff that's running SSH. So here you can see every host that shows up is a host that's running SSH. See? Now you're seeing that we can do this on multiple ports, right? Let's say you want to get just web ports. So I'm doing the exact same thing on anything running port 80 and port 443. I'm sorry, not and, or 443. The pipe is an or. So you can see how he's got a port 80 open in this list, right? And he's got a port 443 open in this list. So really, really good. All right. Now the next one, so now the next one here, we're saying we want to see if we want to parse nmap. We want the output delimiter to be a space. And then we're looking for everything that's got port 80 open, and we're going to export it to a CSV file and call it weblisteners.csv. Boom. So you'll see weblisteners.csv right here. It's that entire scan. Nope. Boom. Right? Take all that data, throw it into a spreadsheet. Away you go. Right to work. Now, if you want to take that and push it out to a web report, now you've got the exact same report output as a web page. Whoops. What do we call the file? I explore exec/port.html. Boom. Okay, I can't call it the most elegant report out there, but boom, threw it on a web page. All right, let's take a break. Let's come back, and when we come back, let's mess with Nessus and Metasploit.